Gates, as you know, Matt Gaetz was under a federal investigation. For allegedly, potentially sex trafficking a minor, having sex with a minor, 17-year-old. And little Pizza Gates action early in the morning, caught in 4K. One of his homies, who is a rat fucker and also a child molester, wrote in a letter basically just stating all the shit that Pizza Gates had done. I already ran the ad, boys, I thought. Yeah, I ran the ad already at the top of the hour, so don't worry about that. All right, let's take a look.
Trump's closest allies involved now.
His name is not Jeb. I always say people's middle names are Jebediah. I think it's a funny middle name.
Federal investigations. And this morning, news on both. In a letter obtained by the Daily Beast, Joel Greenberg, a central figure in the ongoing investigation into Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, writes that Gaetz paid for sex with multiple women. Note this, including with a minor who was 7.
Bro, this is the guy that Matt Gaetz literally urged to run for office, okay? I just need you guys to remember, this is a great example of being hoisted on your own petard, okay? Like, this is a dude who literally fucking was urged to run for office by Matt Gaetz and is like besties with him, gets caught doing like a bunch of illegal shit and just blasts him, dude.
17 years old at the time. We should note that CNN has not seen the letter, cannot verify those details. A spokesperson for Gaetz is denying those allegations, and Joel Greenberg's attorney has declined to comment. But all of this sure to fuel fresh questions for Gaetz. He is at the center of a known Justice Department investigation over allegations involving both sex trafficking and prostitution. We will have much more on that in a moment, but there is also this news. Rudy Giuliani speaking out. He is denying wrongdoing after federal agents executed search warrants on his Manhattan residence and office. This, as the Washington Post has learned, that the FBI directly warned Giuliani that he was the target of a Russian influence operation, disinformation. CNN's Paula Reed is following the latest on Congressman Matt Gaetz and Joel Greenberg. So, Paula, walk us through what this letter purports to show.
Good morning. Well, Joel Greenberg wrote a letter admitting that he and Gaetz paid for sex with multiple women, including a minor who was just 17 at the time. The letter was drafted after Greenberg asked Roger Stone, a close ally and friend of former President Trump, for help in obtaining a pardon during the final months of the Trump administration. Now, in an earlier draft of this letter obtained by the Daily Beast, Greenberg claims that he and Gaetz thought one woman was 19 years old, but later learned she was actually underage. Greenberg reportedly claims that when he learned of this, he immediately called the congressman and warned him to steer clear. Now, CNN has not seen the letter and can't verify the details, but we have spoken to several women who were involved with these men, and we have.
QAnon people really be like, Hunter Biden has photos of his nieces and nephews on his laptop, which means he's a pedophile. But Matt Gaetz literally hung out with pedos and had sex with a 17-year-old, but is not a pedophile. It's like, dude, at some point you got to realize, like, oh shit, you literally are just like, you just hate fucking people that people that are Democrats, and you just call them pedophiles. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Hell yeah, brother. Matt Gaetz is an honest American. It's just a classic definition of it's okay when my side does it. Like, it's just straight up.
Have reported Greenberg paid women on behalf of Gaetz after some sexual encounters. Now, CNN's own Chris Cuomo spoke to Roger Stone last night. Stone says he doesn't recall any letter. He says that he never heard Greenberg implicating Gaetz and that he never tried to get Greenberg a pardon.
I told you, by the way, this is why, like, the Daily Beast reporting on this is kind of sus. I said this last night. No one has seen the letter yet. And as soon as I heard Roger Stone being referenced in it, I was like, uh-oh, this is not good. The reason why this is not good is that, like, they could literally have snuck this in to just taint the entire thing. to be like, oh, the letter actually never existed. It's fake news. I mean, Roger Stone is a professional liar. You know what I mean? And these guys will try everything in the book. I mean, there's plenty of connections with Matt Geatz and the 17-year-old, including like, Venmo purchases and shit, like Venmo transactions that you can see in public. Because they're like that fucking stupid at hiding or covering their tracks. But as soon as Roger Stone gets involved, I'm like, I don't know.
And Stone told the Daily Beast he never asked nor received any money from Greenberg.
All right, tell us about Geatz' response to this.
Well, spokesman for Geatz responded with a statement saying, in part, Congressman Geatz has never paid for sex, nor has he had sex with a 17-year-old as an adult. The story goes some way to showing how Representative Geatz was long out of touch with Mr. Greenberg and had no interest in involving himself in Mr. Greenberg's affairs.
Yeah, the photos, like this photo when he invited him to the White House, or no, this is the old one. There's another photo when they're literally at the White House and Trump is speaking. Like that photo was not taken in that photo's from like 5 years ago. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's literally from like 2 years ago. No, this motherfucker absolutely was still connected to him.
But Mr. Greenberg is very much involved in Mr. Gates' affairs.
If you were EP of this, would you run the story without a letter? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would release a letter. It's fucking crazy.
Greenberg is currently in jail. He's facing 33 federal charges, including sex trafficking. And sources tell CNN Greenberg has been cooperating with federal investigators since last year, and he has shared information with them about encounters he and the congressman had with women who were given cash or gifts in exchange for sex. And Mr. Greenberg is expected to finalize his plea deal in the coming weeks.
We now have this Daily Beast reporting about this letter in which Joel Greenberg, who we know is cooperating with the federal investigators, in effect documents to sort of back up his cooperation with investigators that Geatz, or alleges, paid for sex with multiple women, including a minor who was 17 at the time. How troublesome is that development, if it proves to be true, for Geatz?
You know, this all kind of falls into the category with Giuliani, too, of if you're under criminal investigation, certainly if you're facing criminal charges, as Joel Greenberg was at that time, do not speak, do not write, except through your lawyer. Matt Geatz, listen, this letter cannot come in as evidence against Matt Geatz, at least until and unless, in certain circumstances, if Joel Greenberg actually testifies against him.
Bro, Americans literally are against the ideological worldview of libertarians, and it shows, dude. Listen, when you're a libertarian, it's just a way of life, okay? Matt Geatz physically cannot stop himself from saying, actually, it's ephebophilia every time this is brought up, okay? It's actually something he cannot stop doing. You are literally attacking him for his political beliefs, okay? This is libertarianism. This is a brain disease that has impacted a lot of people in Florida. You're being ableist when you, criticize and oppress libertarians in this way. You have done an ableism. You have done a no growth. You have done a cancel culture. You're literally canceling people for engaging in the marketplace of ideas. Okay.
But it can be used against Joel Greenberg, and there's no reason for it.
Has he actually said that? What the fuck? No, I'm just making a joke about how libertarians love discussing the arbitrary nature of age of consent laws almost as much as they love having Asian wives. And cryptocurrency and abolishing the Fed.
Even if he was trying to get himself a pardon, you don't have to phrase it in that way. You could say, I want to be pardoned for everything alleged in my indictment and all, other investigations stemming from that. There's no reason to kind of write out this confession. And by the way, the notion that he was trying to buy a pardon is yet another potential offense that I don't know whether or not federal authorities that he's now allegedly cooperating with knew about. So this is just an own goal in so many ways. And it could come back to bite Matt Geatz if, in fact, Joel Greenberg does end up taking the stand against him.
To your point, yeah, in case
is there
folks
something wrong with having an Asian wife, though? No, obviously not.
weren't
It's
aware.
just a meme that, like, a lot of libertarians who then end up going full fash will have Asian wives. So much so that there's a massive Facebook group called Libertarian Guys with Asian Wives.
He wrote this letter trying to get a pardon from the president. I just wonder the detail he put in there, and by mentioning Gates, was that part of the sales pitch saying, hey, Mr. President, your pal here is involved. You better come to my aid. I mean, is that how you read that?
That's a very interesting part of the reporting, because the reporting also said that Gates declined to support the pardon, and that, apparently Greenberg got fairly close to getting it, and then Pat Cipollone, the White House counsel.
He's defending pedophiles, brother. He's ending pedophilia by making sure that only the good pedophiles get pardoned. The ones that are close to him. You don't understand. This is a very complicated, convoluted way of thinking. He's got the big brain. Okay. He's too rich. He's rich as fuck, motherfucker. You don't understand. He's better than us. So shut the fuck up.